understanding what's there is kind of like the foundation of building a vulnerability management program. I would argue, though, the next step is really understanding the criticality of those devices to, fundamentally the revenue streams of the organization. When we look at what we're patching, how we were patching it, regardless of the program, it really all was around what outages could we afford, what was a level of revenue that was being generated by that device or that stream of devices, and how are we going to manage the outage, and or who is going to accept the risk if we chose not to close the vulnerabilities. So really getting that understanding of how critical the devices are to the business lines, I think is a major driver in any kind of risk metric. Right? We're talking about risk-based vulnerability management, understanding how we can leverage those risks around individual devices, individual work streams is critical. I always leveraged a BCP program to provide that to me. Doing a business impact analysis, which is critical for a business continuity program, is equally as valuable to a vulnerability management program when you're trying to understand the risk of whether it's an application or an environment, whatever, right? The working with the business. When you do a business impact analysis, it's incredibly enlightening for the business as well as valuable for the IT side of the house. Every time you walk into a business, they're going to say, we want instant response time. We never want to go down. And, we want to guarantee customer satisfaction, all this kind of stuff. And you go, okay, well, here's the price tag for that. And they go, whoa, we don't have that kind of money, right? So you very quickly get into this discussion about, okay, what is the minimal acceptable standard for this? How much are you willing to say, okay, we can afford a 2-hour outage window from 2 to 4 a.m., every other Friday or something along those lines. And really understanding that, okay, this drives 80% of the revenue of the company. So we have to be very sensitive about that. Maybe we roll patches quarterly, but we certainly do a different level of testing on those patches for environments like that compared to, some internal site that we use just to, share memes or whatever. There's just fundamentally different criticalities around different devices in our infrastructure that really should be evaluated and measured to make sure that we're performing the risk analysis correctly. A lot of those things are, believe it or not, a lot of legacy things, right? Whether you're running old mainframes, whether you're running AS400s, whether you're running brand new devices, but the vulnerability has to be a new firmware flash rather than just rolling out a patch to a library. They're very different models, very different pieces of very different risk analysis. Patching an application, if you're going to go, because you have to patch Chrome on a Windows laptop, is a very different risk profile than saying, okay, I'm going to go out to this critical router and flash the firmware overnight, right? They're just completely different risk models. So understanding how all that plays together, I think really is between the asset discovery and the risk analytics that come out of a BIA. I think the two of them really are a phenomenal foundation on building any kind of long-term strategy around risk-based vulnerability.